Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to do some really simple brush lettered cards. They look simple, they are simple, but you know what? I think this would be so sweet to see in my mailbox, and you could even use it like a postcard just by, you know, writing on the back of it, or you can mount it on a cardstock, whatever you want to do. It's frugal because you can use inexpensive watercolor paper. The stuff I'm using here is the Fabriano Studio 90-pound paper. I think I paid about $20 or less for a pad of 75 sheets at Jerry's Artarama last year, so really cheap, and you can get 4 cards this size out of 1 page, or if you want a folded card you can get 2 from a 9x12 page. So seriously frugal to do. Now I'm using my Gansey Tanbei watercolors. Use whatever you have. It really does not matter what kind of watercolors you use, but if you're using these, I recommend you give them a spritz of water before you begin because they're a really hard color. Or if you have children's watercolor paints that don't really release very well, spritz them for 5 minutes before you begin and you'll notice a world of difference. Now before you begin, I recommend you practice on a piece of cardstock or a scrap of watercolor paper or something just to get the feel for the brush. Now this is what I was practicing on before I did those 2 cards, and I'm just gonna flip it over and kind of show you some techniques for this. I really just want you to get used to using your brush. Now you can use a round brush for this or a cat's tongue, and the reason I like this brush is because I'm just going to show you here. And I've showed you in other watercolor tutorials, if I use it like flat, I get a nice thick line, right? But if I use it on its edge and on the tip and I hold my brush at a 90-degree angle, I get a nice fine line. So see, I can like really vary my stroke thickness with this brush. You can do it with a round brush as well. Let me just grab a round brush and show you. And if you're new, you may want a smaller brush, just, you know, until you get the hang of it. So with a regular round brush, you can press it down and get a nice thick line. And you can also use it up on its tip and get a much finer line. So either one of these brushes would be fine to do this project. Now when you're doing brush lettering, the only thing to really keep in mind, because I don't want you to get all like stressed out and bogged down with the details, is that when you go up, you want to have a very light touch, and when you come down, you want to press it down more. So up, fine, down, firm, up, light, down, hard. So this one is running out of juice, so I got that broken line, which can be very beautiful. I don't want you to look for perfection here. I want you to enjoy the process. So let's try that here with the cat's tongue, and this is a synthetic. There's also a brush called the Neptune that makes a cat's tongue. I don't know if it makes any really small ones like this. They're both by Princeton, but I think you'll have a little bit easier time controlling a regular synthetic rather than a synthetic sable, just because the bristles are firmer and they spring a little bit better. So if I'm going up, and I would try to hold my brush so that the flat part, if you're using a cat's tongue or oval wash or filbert, there are different names for the same thing, that this flat part is at a 45-degree angle with your paper, just like the chisel edge on a pen would be. So you'd go, I feel like I got a glove there, I'm just gonna wipe off that glove. You go up, light, down, firm, up, light, and I like how I get a little bit of a broken line sometimes, and I get those like kind of strandy lines. I like that. And you can stop between letters, pick up more paint, and go. So now that you've done some practicing, and you can do this on cheap paper, you don't have to do it on watercolor paper, just get the hang of it, then you'll want to grab your cardstock. And I would probably recommend practicing your thank you and your happy birthday, just to kind of figure out where you need to put everything on your card for it to fit. All right, now I've got a couple, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you. Let me grab that scrap again. It doesn't work as well with these Gansey Tanbei paints, but I'll show you with this anyway. If you have like an ink, it works really well with like an ink or a liquid watercolor. But let me just show you here. So you load your brush up with water, and let's do the word hi, just because it's a fairly short word. And I'm just doing that with water, so you can see it's shiny where I've just, I don't know, can you see that? It's shiny where I just did hi. Make sure you get plenty of water in there. Then what you can do is load it up with color. Just kind of drop the color in there and let it go, because it's only going to go where, oops, I don't think I dotted that. It's only going to go where your paint is. So you could do a couple different colors and kind of get a multi-toned fun thing like that. So I did want to show you that in case you want to try something really fun. Kind of just charging, you make the bead of color, then you charge the paint into it. It's just fun and something to try, and I just wanted to put it out there because hopefully really, when you try this technique, you're going to want to make a bunch of different cards, and with the holidays just, you know, that we just had, you may need to make a bunch of thank you notes, and it's a nice thing to do, and that's why we're going to start with the thank you. So what I'm going to do is, maybe I'll use different colors this time. Since I used red and yellow there, I'll use this kind of periwinkle color. So I have sprayed my palette, so it's pretty juicy, and I'm just going to do cursive, okay? So there's my T. All right, and then I'm just going to go up light, down firm for the H. Now if I need to reload, I can. I think I'm probably all right. Then I'm going to go up light, down firm. I will reload just because I think I'm running out. Now I'm going to go to the A. I'm going up light, then I'm going to go down firm, up light, down firm. And I try to make a little tail when I go, because that just makes it easier to connect the other letter. Now if I have to bridge a gap, I'll just go really light, because that would be kind of an upstroke there. So just kind of keep that in mind if you have to kind of fill in a letter because your paint dried out or your brush dried out or whatever. So I'm going to do N and K, and I'm doing this larger than I did on my last one. Let's see, I'm going to end with that little up thing, and then I'm going to get my K, light with a little bump. Just remember, when you're going down, just push a little bit more. So I kind of scrunched it up there a little bit as I got to the end, so I don't like it when I do that, but that happens sometimes. And then I want to make this quite wet, because I think I might charge in some other colors onto the U, so I'm going to just down heavy, up light, down heavy, up light, down heavy, up light, down heavy, up light, down heavy, up light. And then I do like to put a... Now I can pick up some other colors and add it in, like maybe some purple. If it's wet enough, it'll kind of flow. But you can kind of go around, just add it in. Or you can leave it plain. I just think it's kind of fun to accent the downstrokes. But that is completely up to you. Now I also like to do a little border, so what I'm going to do is I'll just wet the edges a little bit. Now if you are going to use this as a postcard, just be careful on your work surface that when you put your next card down, you're not going to just be, you know, putting it in that in any wet paint, so you might want to grab a scrap piece of paper or something to put under there. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I tend to mail things in envelopes, so I'd probably just put this on a card front. And I'm just going to add some other little, this is a pretty color, I'm going to add some of that in there. And then I'm just going to do some little couple whimsical little flowers, and I think I'm going to double load my brush. So to do that, what I'm going to do is grab this lighter color that we just used for the border. I'm going to get a little bit of that darker color on top, and I think I'm just going to tap on some little spiky flowers there. And really, I mean, it's up to you how much you want to do there. You could just leave it plain too. I like to embellish a little bit, obviously, and then maybe a little bit of green. You can even let it flow into the frame if you want. It's all about practice. I mean, really, this does not have to be stationery shop quality. You know what it should do? It should free you. It should make you feel like, okay, I have a few minutes. I'm going to make some of the art. I'm going to practice with my supplies. This stuff right here, this penmanship we're doing, it's going to help you with brush control and brush technique. Even if you never use these cards, they will help you. It's just an icebreaker. It's a creative jump start. So that's what I hope that you will do with it. So now let's do the happy birthday, and we have to be a little carefuler with this because we have to make sure we can fit happy birthday on our card. So we have to tighten it up a little bit. And I think maybe I will use some red on this one. And again, my paint is nice and juicy. And sometimes when you load up your brush, you've got so much paint on there, you don't really want to start with like the tiny little tail at the top of the H. So you could actually start with, I am going to take a little bit off there, that's a little too much. You can start with like the downstroke. And then you can always go in and add that upstroke after if it's like a little bit easier for you to get in there after you're afraid you will have too much of paint on there. So then we're going to go up little, down big, up little, down big. And if that bothers you having that double line there, you can reload your brush. I actually think it's kind of pretty, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, so down, heavy, up, light, down, heavy. And you don't really have to go up over that P if you don't want to, but we're still going up, light, then down, and we were a little tail. You can reload if we need to. Now if you don't like that shape, because that's kind of the shape that brush makes, that cat's tongue, you can fill that in later. And then go down, heavy. And see, it just kind of gives you like that, the little U shape, the kind of upside down U shape. Go ahead and go over that if you don't like it. It doesn't bother me. Up, light, down, heavy, do our little tail up. Again. So every time we go down, we are going heavy. Every time we come up, we're going light. So we've got a happy there. Now we want to do birthday. Let's do birthday. What do we want to do birthday with? Oh, decisions. I think maybe I'll do it with purple. Okay, and as you get more practice, you're going to have more control. Now, I'm not somebody with good handwriting. My handwriting is horrible, so doing stuff like this just kind of helps me with my handwriting because it's not good. So this time I will start with that little tail because I like the flow. And I felt like my brush was splitting a little bit, so I'm going to reload that. I'm actually going to add a little more water to that pot of color. I would let your paints dry out before you put the lid on, if you are spraying them ahead of time. I'm going to do a little tail up, heavy down, light up, and I like to do a little R like that with a little loop. Light up, heavy down, light up, and you can reload. Just try to get that little tail up before you reload. Heavy down, light up, heavy down, light up. Reload after the light up. That's the best time to reload, I think. Heavy down, light up, heavy down, light up, heavy down. Bridge it over if you need to. A's get me every time. And then we're going to do our Y. Heavy down, light up. Alright, so there we have our happy birthday. Now this ended up being a little bigger than my other one. I'm not going to fret about that. You can put a border on or you can omit it. But one thing I like is just doing a little viney flower motif. I actually think I will do a little border around because I think it's just cheerful. And if you're going to mount this on like a plain white card, it's nice to have that little border because then it will really stand out from the card and you'll see that it's a layered card, but obviously it's personal preference. Going in there just a little bit of a border. These might take a little longer to dry than you expect because if you have like beads of color anywhere, beads of water, it will take a little bit longer. So for the little flowers, just load up your brush with your paint, and you can do a couple colors if you want to. It's just 3 little dabs. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. However many you want. Then I'm going to do my little vine, and I'm going to hold my brush at a 90-degree angle so I get a nice sharp line, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around. Don't worry if you get into the border and it bleeds at all. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's handmade. It should look handmade. There's nothing wrong with something looking handmade. In fact, I prefer it. I love it when I get a handmade card. And then I'm just going to dab on little leaves here. And the thing that I like about this is it's so freeing. It's just grab some paint, grab one brush, grab your watercolors, grab cheap watercolors, have fun with it. No pressure, okay? I don't want you to feel pressure. I think I'm gonna do some little blueberries or something. I don't know. I'm just gonna dab on some blue dots. It can be whatever you want them to be. Maybe they're flowers, maybe they're wisteria, maybe they're some sort of berry, maybe they're, who knows? They're pretty. We're making it, it's almost like we're making an abstract design. I think that's what I like about it, because it's like we're doing abstract art and we're not even worrying about it. And now you could flick on some paint if you want to. I do like to flick on the paint. I think I'll flick on a little bit of the yellow. You can always blot it off. It gets on your water and you don't, if it gets on your words and you don't like it. But there you have it. You got a couple little cards done now. You can use them as whatchamacallit, postcards. I even have a postcard back stamp, which is really, really fun to use. Or you can put them on a folded card and use it just as a front panel as you would normally. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try it. I know it's not fancy. It's not that like mind-shattering exciting or anything, but it will get you using your supplies, and that's what you should do. If you have gorgeous paints, you have brushes, use them. Sometimes you just need a little project to break the ice. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And of course, if you try it, I'd love to see what you come up with. You can share it with me on my Facebook page. Link is in the video description. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.